So, last session we have conducted at for the clause number 5. Clause number 5 is that regarding clause number 5 is regarding the top management. So top management attitude and top management, the responsibility, all we have discussed. Then we have discussed about the consultation and participation. That is very also good. Consultation and participation by our workers and their stakeholders and the interested party. We have discussed about the interested party. Anybody who have impact or may be impacted by our activities is considered as an interested party. So always we have to take the feedback from the interested party. We have to take feedback from our workers, and consultation and participation. We have to increase the consultation. So that we have discussed. Any question from the previous 2-4 days? Anybody? You have to make the note and ask, make the question, list of question, and then you can ask. It is better. Okay, I'm requesting everybody. Make a note, and every time when you're attending the class, take a notebook and make a list of question. If you have any, then we can discuss about the question. It is better when you're discussing. It's more and more learning with the questions. Okay, now we come next chapter is planning. Action to address risk and opportunity. And we have already discussed about the HIRA. Here we will discuss about the HIRA, risk and opportunity. I think we have discussed about the risk. Anything has potential to harm us is called hazard, and the probability of severity of the hazard is calculated as a risk of that particular. And the corrective measure that we are taking to control the risk is called opportunity. Okay, so hazard, risk, and opportunity we have to remember. When planning for purchase management system, the organization shall consider the issue referred to the 4.1 context of the organization. Any external issue and internal issue that could impact our management system, we have to note down here in the risk assessment. Then a scope of the management system, we have to keep what is our scope. Then we can calculate the risk. We cannot calculate the risk beyond our scope. Okay, so what is our scope? We have to consider risk. There may be n number of risks, but that are not relevant for us. Then OHS management system and determine the risk and opportunity that need to be addressed. What risk is relevant for us? There are, suppose we are working in a manufacturing industry and there is risk for atomic structure, atomic nuclear power. Some risk related to nuclear power is not relevant to us. Some risk related to the oil and gas industry, that is not relevant to us. So we have to note down whatever the risk relevant for us. That is a practical, always be practical aspect. So give assurance that the OHS management system can achieve the intended outcome. Intended outcome, what we want to achieve, that is called intended outcome. What we want to produce, that is the intended outcome. So give assurance that the OHS management system can achieve. So how can give the assurance? When you are working in that direction, when you are make the strategy to achieve those things, then we can achieve those things. So prevent or reduce undesired effect. Prevent and reduce the undesired effect. So we have to prevent or reduce undesired effect. Whatever the undesired effect that will come by accident, by some natural calamities, whatever, we have to prevent those and reduce undesired. Prevent and reduce. Sometimes we cannot completely prevent. Then we have to reduce up to that level. There is a one term called LR. LR. ALARP. Can anybody give me meaning of LR? What is the meaning of LR?
As low as possible.
Yes. So as low as reasonable, practical. Reasonable. LARP. As low as LAARP. As low as reasonable. Suppose we cannot make a noise zero. If machine is running, there may be some noise. We cannot make a zero noise. If our genset is having noise more than 100 decibel, we can reduce up to certain level. We cannot make it zero. In that cases, we have to consider LR principle. Always think in LR principle. Okay. Achieve continuous improvement. When you're doing all the things as per the management requirement, then certainly we achieve the continuous improvement. When determining the risk and opportunity for OHS management system and its intended outcome that need to be addressed, organizations shall take into account hazard. Many times we have discussed, we have to identify all relevant hazard for our activities for around us. Then OHS risk and other risk. And after the identification and noting of the all hazard, we have to evaluate the level of hazard, and then we can calculate on the basis of probability and severity, calculate the risk on the probability and occurrence or severity. So OHS risk and other risk, maybe some other risk, property risk, some reputation risk is there, business risk is there, financial risk is there. So apart from the OHS risk, there may be some other risk. We have to control those also. OHS opportunity and other opportunity. So whatever the risk, how we control the risk, that means is considered as a opportunity. So OHS opportunity and other opportunity. Legal requirement and other requirement. So whatever the legal requirement, we have to identify that is relevant for us. The organization in this planning process shall determine and assess risk and opportunity that are relevant for the intended outcome of the OHS management system associated with the change in organization. Its process OHS management system in case planned change. Okay, so whatever the relevant, we have to note down and take the corrective action and prevent corrective action. That is called opportunity to control those, mitigate those risks. Permanent or temporary, these assessments shall be undertaken before the change is implemented. Organizations shall maintain documented information on risk and opportunity. This is very important. Organizations shall documented. Where this word will come, shall maintain documented information, it means it is a mandatory procedure. We have to make the procedure. It is a mandatory. We cannot escape from this procedure. And it is a very important risk and opportunity. And that we have discussed about the hazard and HERA register. And all clause number 6, all respect to HERA. Hazard, identification and assessment of risk and opportunity. Same things earlier we have discussed. The organization shall establish, implement and maintain a process for hazard identification that is ongoing on and proactive. We have to maintain, organizations shall establish, implement and maintain a process. We have to make a process for how to identify the hazard. What is the level? What is our parameters? What is the scale? We have to decide on company to company. And that ongoing and proactive. This is a very important word. Ongoing, it means presently existing, ongoing hazard, and proactive. Proactive, it means it's not happened, but it may happen. It may happen. Suppose our roof of our building is very old and it's some cracks are there. What will happen? Presently is not falling, but it may fall in future. Okay, so we have to identify those things also. The process shall take into account, but not limited to, how work is organized, social factor, including workload, work hours, victimization, harassment, and bullying. These are psychosocial hazards at workplace. Social factors like workload is too much, 16-hour, 18-hour workload is there, that psychologically, and the workers will become very psychologically they are fatigue condition. Psychologically they are become puzzled, so that working hour extended 16-hour, 18-hour, it will become very difficult to, their social status will change. Then working hour victimization, some victimization is there, people are bullying, harassment is there. Then leadership and culture in the organization. This type of culture, leadership, suppose our manager is not good, they are always crying, shouting the person. Then routine and non-routine activities and situation, including hazard arising. Routine and non-routine activities. Routine activities, those are mandatory every, as per periodic, day, per week, per month, like this. But non-routine activities, that those are coming like breakdown, any incident, breakdown, that comes under the non-routine activity. It may be happen also. So we have to be prepared for routine activity and non-routine activity also, hazard arising from. The infrastructure, equipment, material, substance, physical condition of the workplace, product and service design, research development, testing. So all aspects we have to identify the hazard and calculate the risk factor. Human factor, it means some people are educated, some people are not educated, some people are not logically good. So that is human factor also. Those are not educated, they can do more mistake. Those are educated, they can do the less mistake. How the work is performed, past relevant incident, interval or external, internal or external to organization, include the emergencies and their causes. We have to consider what emergency may come, and emergency depending on the person, company to company, area to area. Some coastal area there may be more cyclone. Okay, some area there is a very far from coastal, it is less cyclone. Some desert area is temperature is very high. Some area cold, polar region like a western country, there are some ice is there, so the cold climate is there. Their hazard is different. So we have to be prepared for the avalanche. In the cold country, there may be avalanche. So cold wind will coming. So we have to be prepared. Then volcanic, some of area in the world, like a Japanese area, they're more prone to the earthquake and volcano. Some Indonesia, some island is always having the volcano. So we have to be prepared. Whatever that particular area, what is the hazard, and that particular area, that may be what emergency situation we have to control. Potential emergency situation, it's not happened, but maybe happen in future. People, including consideration of those with access to workplace and their activities, including workers, contractors, visitors, and other. We have to include the contractor workers also, the visitors also, the transporter, those who also, and other person. those in vicinity of the workplace, those are living in the, that we have discussed about all are interested party. Those are living nearby, those are comes under the interested party. Workers at location not under the direct control of the organization. Workers at a location but not under the direct control of the organization. But it means like a contractors worker. We have the 10 contractors and the contractors is paying the money to their workers. We cannot direct control, but we have to control through the contractors. Other issue including consideration of design, work area, process, installation, machine, so all other factor which are maybe impact our management system, occupational health management system. Suppose any design is faulty design, have chances for accident. Any raw material that are the hazardous material used in chemicals are used, that is comes under the other factors of hazard. Situation occurring in the vicinity of the workplace caused by the work-related activity. Suppose our factory, a small factory that is nearby the cement factory or the thermal power plant. What will happen? Can anybody say me? If your workplace is nearby cement factory or mining area or nearby the thermal power plant, what will happen? Yes, friend. Hello? Anybody can say me? Please reply.
Yes, taking question.
Good. See, lot of dust particle will come from the thermal power unit and cement plant or mining area. Lots of dust particle is coming.
Silica dust.
It can impact our health, ill health. So that is not our business. Our factory is not producing that dust particle, but it nearby organization is situation occurring in the vicinity of the workplace. In our workplace nearby, there is some possibility of this dust particle, hazardous material, chemical, and that is harmful for our health. Situation not controlled by the organization and occurring in the vicinity of the workplace can cause injury and ill health. Same, if it is not, we cannot control. Can we, if our workplace nearby the cement factory, can I close the cement factory? No, it's a big factory, we cannot close. So that we have to identify what is the impact and how we control those impact of adverse impact. Actual or proposed change in organization, operational process activity or OHS management system is called management of change. If you are going to introduce any new change, we have to evaluate the impact of change. That is called management of change. Change in knowledge and information about the hazard. When we are initially, our workers are not much qualified, but we have given the proper training and trained the people down. What will happen? They can be able to control the hazard. Without knowledge, they are not able to know about the hazard and know how to control about the hazard. But now, after the proper training and information, they be able to control the hazard. Okay. 6.12.2 assessment of OHS risk and other risk of the OHS management system. This is the repetition. So assessment, first we have to identify the hazard, already we have discussed, and then assessment of OHS risk. What is the level of the hazard, and then assess the risk level. Then 6.2.3 assessment of OHS opportunity and other opportunity. So we have to assess the control measure of risk, that is called opportunity. Determining legal and other requirement. Already we have discussed what is the legal requirement that will relevant for our unit, our production process, our area. That is country vary from country to country. The rule from the USA is different, rule from the UK is different, rule from the UAE different, rule from the India is different. So that is the relevant to country and product to product. The oil and gas rule is different. The engineering production unit is different. The manufacturing food processing unit different. So some have the vary from organization to organization, the product to product. Clear? So we have to identify whatever the, I have given the example of the noise rule. Noise rule is applicable for all over world. If high noise is there more than 85 decibel, our health may be impacted. Our hearing loss maybe we can face for the hearing power loss, and ultimately it can go permanently also. And the hearing loss due to high noise, it cannot be repairable, it cannot be medicated, cannot be cured. Okay, so we have to be careful when high noise is there. Then for that is the example, noise rule is there, hazardous waste management rule is there, biomedical waste rule is there. The India has a lot of rules, and every country has almost same rule is there. Determine how these legal requirement and other requirement apply. Legal requirement is those requirement which is applicable all over country, given by the central government. But other requirement is that those are given by local authority, like a trade union, district magistrate has given some, then our customer has given some rule regulation, some custom is there. So that is called under the other requirement. So we have to identify all of applicable legal requirement and other requirement also. Take these legal requirement and other requirement into account when establishing, implementing, maintaining the continuous improvement its OHS management system. The organization shall maintain and retain documented information on legal requirement and other requirement. This is also mandatory. We have to make the legal requirement and other requirement. Okay. Any question, any doubt till now? Hello. Come forward, friend.
Yes, sir. Clear, sir.
Okay.
If anyone want to any questions, so please ask that, please.
I'm giving hint. Everybody, you make a note, and if any question, any doubt, note and ask me. Okay. The next chapter is 6.1.4, planning action. The organization shall plan, address the risk and opportunity. How we have to make a plan, how to address, how to make the procedure for risk and opportunity, address legal requirement and other requirement, prepare for a respond to emergency situation. How to make a, we have to make a emergency procedure so that we can respond during the emergency. What is the process of emergency control? Emergency response plan, ERP. Integrate the implementation, the action into OHS management system process or other business process. Evaluate the effectiveness of these action. The organization shall take into account of hierarchy of control. We'll discuss, I think earlier also discussed the hierarchy of control. Can anybody explain what is the hierarchy of control?
Eliminate substitution, administration control,
engineering control, administration control, and PP.
Good.
PP.
Very nice. Very nice. So this is called hierarchy of control. So everybody should know, because the HSE is very based on the risk and hierarchy of how to control the risk. There's a very important hierarchy of control. Input from the OHS management system when planning to take action. When during the planning, we have to first apply the elimination method. Okay, then we can apply for substitution, then engineering control, then administrative control, and last one is the use of PPs. Okay, the organization shall take into account of the hierarchy of control and output from the OHS management system when planning to take action. When
After
planning,
10 minutes, if class is the ended, so will you join the again, please?
okay. So due to some technical reason, within a 7 to 8 minutes, it will close. We can rejoin again. Okay. So when planning its action, the organization shall consider best practice, technology, option, and financial, operational, and business requirement. The planning for the best practice, good practice, whatever the available in the market, we have to try for those practice. Technological option, financial, operational, and business requirement, whatever the business requirement, then we can achieve in the market. We can establish, we can make a brand in the market. Okay. OHS objectives and planning to achieve them. So when we are making the policy, and after on the basis of policy, we have to make objectives. And lot of things we have discussed about the objectives. What is the principle for making objectives? Anybody remember?
Should be smart.
Smart, SMART. Okay, very good. The organization shall establish OHS objectives at relevant function and level in order to maintain continuous improvement of OHS management system, OHS performance. So whatever our objectives, first we have to set objectives, and then we have to make a plan for achieve the objectives. So the objectives shall be considered with the OHS policy. Whatever the OHS policy, that be relevant for the objective setting. Be measurable if practical or capable of the performance. Then take into account applicable requirement, result of the assessment of risk and opportunity. And when you are setting the objectives, we have to take the level of risk. If it is a level of risk more, then we can take a hard target. If level is risk is less, then we can make a less target. So depending on the level of risk, then we can make a target objectives. The result of the consultation with workers, when we are setting the consultation or participation, where worker is giving these are the problem, these are the area, gray area in our organization, then we can set an objective on the basis of their consultation and participation. We can take a feedback whether they exist worker representative, be monitored. When we are monitoring, then we can, on the basis of monitoring result, we can set a target objective, be communicated, be update as appropriate. And after preparation of the audit objective, we can communicate and update appropriately to our interested party. Planning to achieve OHS objectives. So when you're making the objectives, then we can we have to make a plan after setting the objective. Yesterday I have given the example, when we have set a target to achieve a Mercedes-Benz car, but our earning is not increasing. Is it possible to achieve the objective? We cannot purchase a car because our earning is very less. So for making a plan for purchase a Mercedes-Benz, we have to earn accordingly at the price of the Mercedes-Benz. That's the example. Similarly, what the objective said, we have to set a plan. We have set a our plan so that we can achieve those target. What will be done? We have to discuss what response will be required, who will respond, and it will complete. How the result will evaluated, including the indicators of monitoring. How the action of achieve OHS objective will be integrated with the organization's business process. We have to set a target. We have to make a plan how we achieve this objective and what is our strategy planning. This is a very important. We have to how we are planning for achieve this. Clear? This chapter is complete. Now, next chapter is support. Okay. Support. This is related to HR, training, competence. Support chapter says that the organization. Hello. Hello. Please mute your phone. Okay. Support for function. It's a resource and training. Resource, I have discussed about the resource may be manpower, resource may be money, resource may be raw material, resource may be machine, resource may be area of the working. That all comes under resource. The organization shall determine and provide a resource need for the established maintenance of and control improvement of OHS management system. When the management is decided to implement the ISO 45000 standard in their organization, they have to decide, they have to make a budget, what resource required, how much money is required, and how we'll provide those money, to whom we have to provide the money. So that's all planning we have to do. Okay, organization shall determine and provide the resource and also provide the resource accordingly as per our budgeted requirement. 7 point, that was 7.1, 7.2, competence. We have to make our people competent as per the requirement. What were the requirement? To, as per the ISO 45000, they should be know about the system. Organization shall determine the necessary competence of workers that affect and can affect OHS performance. If people don't know how we make the safer area, how we make the safer product, then what will happen? They cannot achieve properly. They cannot do the safe work. So we have to be competent first. And competent people, there are two ways to make them competent. First way, we have to recruit the competent people in our organization. Second way, we have to make them competent by training. So training is very important here. Determine a necessary competence of workers that affect and can affect. Whatever the necessary competence required, we have to identify. Training need identification. Here we can identify, this is a term called training need identification. This is the exactly role of the HR people. Okay, they can do this practice and ultimately they can report to the top management of the company. Ensure that workers are competent, including the ability to identify hazard, especially competent for the identify, because we are discussing about the OHS management system. So our people be competent with respect to hazard. How can they identify the hazard? On basis of the appropriate education, training, and experience. So we have to provide the training, we have to education, we have to deploy, recruit an educated person, we have to provide the training and experience. And after training, they get the experience and they get the knowledge. Where applicable, take action to acquire and maintain necessary competence and evaluate the effectiveness of the action. So after the training providing, we have to evaluate. How to evaluate? By examination. Whether it is a verbal examination, whether it is a written examination, then we can evaluate the level of competence after the training. And evaluate the effectiveness of the action taken. So after evaluation, we can say This is the effectiveness. If training is completed, but everybody is sleeping in the training, what will happen? No one can get the